ASMR Coffin Radio.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Coffin Radio. I am Heartthrob Rob. Today we are talking about the season finale of Dark Side of the Ring, Season 3, Episode 14, The Steroid Trials. In the bio here reads, in the mid-90s, wrestling is rocked by accusations of rampant steroid abuse, with star witness Hulk Hogan, prosecutors set out to prove that Vince McMahon is the one responsible. Good episode here, man, for the season finale of Season 3 of Dark Side of the Ring. I feel like this one was very fucking tight. I feel like they easily could have stretched this out to 2 episodes. To be honest with you, I would have liked it to be separated into 2 episodes because they cover so much here. And as someone who was, you know, a little kid when all this was going on, I'm aware of it, but not as much in depth as to how they went over it. And I learned a lot in this episode, so I feel like if they would have made it 2 episodes, especially with all the characters that they had here, I feel like it would have really benefited from it. But in this one, we get interviews with, obviously about the steroid trial, and we get interviews with Warlord, Dave Meltzer, Brian Blair, Jerry McDevitt, who is was the lawyer for WWE, WWF for about 30 years. Crazy stories. Nobody knows where the fucking bodies are buried more than Jerry McDevitt. We also have Wade Keller, John Arezzi, and Phil Mushnick. Wade Keller and John Arezzi were both writers and covering wrestling for quite some time, 20, 30, 40 years, all that. Phil Mushnick is actually writing for the New York Post. Does not get along with Vince at all. But this episode was really crazy. So what I didn't know, and some things that I learned here, is that there's actually kind of 2 trials that kind of happen where things are working out. George Zahorian was one of the doctors that worked for worked for the state and provided doctorship or care or whatever, has to check all the wrestlers before the match goes on. But apparently he's hooking everybody up with freaking all the steroids they need, Vicodins, Percocets, whatever you might need at the time. But people don't realize, you know, when they talk about steroid use, they act like it was like this big horrible thing. Up until 1990, it was completely legal. As long as you had somebody writing this shit, you were able to shoot up steroids all day. But now that it's become illegal, now it's taboo. This whole say no to drugs thing is that I remember going on in the early 90s. That is very rampant here. But apparently Zahorian gets busted in 1990 for, you know, some other bodybuilding guy, and he gives up Zahorian. So they raid his office and they find a picture of him, Vince McMahon, and Hulk Hogan. They say, what the fuck is going on here? But, you know, he had connections to the WWE. So immediately when you know, WWE gets a whiff that he's going to trial, cut all fucking communications we have with this guy. We don't know him, blah, blah, blah. Like, get rid of him. You know, he's no good here. He goes to trial. He beats it. But, you know, when he's on trial, he has to, a couple wrestlers are also called up. We get Warlord, I believe, is one of them or at the time. Brian Blair is one of them. Hot Rod, Roddy Piper is one of them. A few other wrestlers, and you know, he ends up getting busted for that. And you know, as he's in trial, getting ready to get in trouble, everyone else is on cleanup duty. You know, Hulk Hogan is able. You know, they show that Hulk Hogan was getting stuff from him, and he gets on he's able to not testify. He goes on Arsenio, and that's at our famous Arsenio interview, where he's pretty much lying, saying that he only took steroids 3 times in 1983 for a, you know, fucked up shoulder. Meanwhile, the guy's gassed to the gills. You know, you can obviously tell. So, you know, and I've heard, you know, at the time I'm too young, I'm like, what, 91, 92, I'm maybe 4 years old, that people did not believe it. You know, obviously no one believes that Hulk Hogan did not take steroids, you know. So that's kind of where Terry's fall from grace really starts happening. In an unprecedented move that would never happen now, but happened back then pretty consistently. Vince McMahon goes on a talk show, and he goes on Donahue, and Donahue is a fucking asshole, and he rips him to shreds. And John Arezzi and, you know, Meltzer are there, and they kind of give him up too. And I've never understood why people go against wrestling like that. We're a tight knit community, and I love John Arezzi, I love Meltzer. John, I hope you see this, but I just don't know why we would not be on the same side when we all want wrestling to win, you know? I don't want the fucking jail to happen to Vince. He goes down, we all go down. But he catches Vince in a lie, and Vince fucking kind of looks at him like he wants to kill him. And John Arezzi says that 2 people visited his house and told his mom, oh, John Arezzi lives here? Well, tell John Arezzi he lives in a very dangerous neighborhood. And they fucking dip. And, you know, Jerry McDevitt's like, that never fucking happened, blah, blah, blah. Jerry McDevitt is crazy, dude. He is on it. The fact that they're interviewing him, a man that fucking was Vince's go-to secret man for 30 years is absolutely crazy. But as the Hornians getting in trouble, they know that WWE is next. So he got busted. Meanwhile, they're waiting for theirs. So they finally get raided, or they finally get subpoenaed, however it goes, arraigned, brought up on charges for this conspiracy that you're making all your wrestlers take steroids. And this happens in 1993, and people aren't really believing. Vince has to go on trial, but Jeremy Tippett breaks it down that they don't really have a case. The things that they're trying to bust them for, like Warlord, Rick Rude, whoever, are all saying, "Hey man, yeah, like I took steroids, but Vince never fucking told me to take them. Never told me." Warlord said, "Hey man, I was taking steroids long before I came to WWE. These motherfuckers didn't tell me. Obviously, we know whoever's the biggest and baddest over here is going to get pushed, but Vince never told me to take nothing," which is the truth, right? But still, there's some hesitations. What could happen? And they finally give Hogan they call him to the witness stand, and Hogan's the one who actually kind of saves Vince's ass, and said, because he's the guy, right? He's the number one. He's the piece that we need here. And he says, "No go, man. Vince never gave me anything. Sometimes we would hand each other steroids. I took little steroids, you took little steroids, but we never sold me or nothing like that." And everyone says, "Hey, he saved his ass," but Vince took it as, "You motherfucker. You told these cocksuckers that I took fucking steroids, you piece of shit." So I guess that's their bone of contention. Hogan sees it as, "Hey man, I saved you from 17 years of jail." Vince says it as, "Yeah, but you tainted my image while you did it." So you kind of see where this animosity between these two grown men happens. But that's pretty much how it ends, man. It's not much of craziness. Like, it's crazy, but we're also just talking about a trial. We're talking about people sitting in chairs talking to each other. You know what I mean? So you don't get to see crazy bar fights or people knocking each other out in the ring. Not a lot of ring action, but still a good one. Again, I feel like this should have been a two-parter, and I feel like it should have been somewhere in the middle of the series, and I feel like a lot more action on a one episode would have worked better. But still an amazing episode, just probably not a finale because it's great, but no fighting or nothing like that. But other than that, I thought it was absolutely great. Another incredible season for Dark Side of the Ring. They haven't been renewed for season 4 yet. I can't see how that wouldn't happen. Still so much to cover, but they covered a lot of great things. But I absolutely loved it. Just would have felt this was a different position on the card, as it were, and I think it would have worked a little bit better. But let me know what you guys think, man. We'll talk about it in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you like what you're watching, then hop in the coffin. Follow us on social media at Coffin Radio. Coffin is spelled with a K. And that's all for today.
ASMR Coffin Radio.